Hello and welcome to the Downsized. You guys have been asking for recipes and such, and Laraine keeps volunteering me, so we thought we'd try a cooking video. Let me know how it goes. We're going to cook in real time, so I haven't done a lot of pre-prep, but I have pulled things out. I'll show you all the ingredients as we go. Nothing too hard here, though. We're going to make a chicken lettuce wrap. If you've ever been to P.F. Chang's or a lot of other Asian restaurants, they'll have them. So lots of protein, lots of produce, and lots of flavor. We have a tendency to like Asian food around this house, so at least I do, and my youngest daughter are big fans, so we make a lot of it, and it's not too hard. So we'll start with prepping some veg, and then we'll go into cooking the protein and finish it up with the actual product. So right now I've got a carrot and a peeler. We'll just peel a carrot, easy enough.
Can I use baby carrots?
You could use baby carrots. You know what? Baby carrots never have as much flavor as a whole carrot. I really do prefer a whole carrot. What happens is there's no such thing as a baby carrot. There are carrots that have been processed to be babies. The more they're processed, the less flavor they have. So if you start with a whole carrot, it's going to taste a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and get this eye turned on to about medium. This is an electric stove, which I don't prefer, but it is what it is, and it goes from either not hot to hotter than hell, so I always have to adjust it. And this is a brand new bottle of olive oil. We're going to put maybe a tablespoon in there. One whole carrot. I'm going to chop it in half here, and the goal is to get it diced down. If you've ever had this as a dish, all the pieces are pretty much the same size.
What if I can't get my cuts the same size?
You know what? You can use one of those slap choppers. You can use a food processor. A lot of times, even in the grocery store, you can find this stuff pre-chopped. But if you don't know knives, you're not going to hurt yourself. Just be careful. Kitchens can be dangerous. There's sharp things and hot things, so it's easy enough to get hurt, but you don't want to do that. So this is actually a Japanese chef's knife, actually got in Tokyo, from a gentleman who said he had been in his family with the Shogun warriors for centuries. Who knew? Who knows whether it was true or not, but it was a cool story. So we're going to chop these up.
Can I just use a regular knife to cut up?
You sure can. And we have here everything from expensive knives to ones we take camping that came from Walmart. Just always make sure your knives are sharp. Dull knives are the knives that hurt you because you end up bearing down hard. You can see I've got my fingers rolled in, so I'm doing my best not to chop my fingers. Then you just have diced carrots. Carrots are the hardest vegetable we're cooking, and they'll take the longest to cook. So I'm going to actually put those in the pan first. I like a board scraper. You might use it for dough, or you could use the back of your knife. Be careful with knives, they will hurt you. Then I have one yellow onion. Could be a Vidalia, could be whatever. Could be a white onion, could be a red onion. Doesn't really matter. Get the peeler out of the way. I like to chop the onion in half. Take the non-root end off.
You have to peel it?
I will, yeah.
Oh.
So the root end is this end. You see the little root there. Mm-hmm. This is the top. So I like to cut the top off a little bit.
Why?
So that I can easily peel it.
Ah. Ah.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. And then we want to peel it. I can get that off. Probably need a garbage bowl here for this purpose, which I don't normally use, but for this, since I don't want to go back and forth to the trash can all the time, we'll just make a little bowl for garbage.
Doesn't Rachel Ray do that? She makes a little...
Rachel Ray does do that. Anyway, so we have 2 peeled onions. I like to do a cross section across. And down. Then you get a dice. Same thing on the other half. So So the goal here is to get as much fresh in this as we can, as much flavor as possible, but honestly, as little bad stuff as we can. But Laraine and I don't really believe in bad stuff. We don't block anything out. We don't
I
need
was just going to
anything.
say, what's bad stuff?
Yeah, there's not. Just I'm going to run my knife through it a couple times. Just trying to get those onions down to size so they're not too big. Again, if you've ever had a chicken lettuce wrap, it's all kind of the same size and it goes directly in the pan. Then I have mushrooms. Looks like about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are portobellas, but they could be whites. Doesn't really matter. I've washed them. If there's any dirt that's still on them, just cut it off, or you can use a paper towel to brush them off, but I wash them just real lightly. And these, I'm just going to chop up. So I'll start by just chopping them easily into pieces, and then I'll run my knife through them to make a dice. We just want to get similar sized pieces. Stir this around a little bit.
Does any garlic go in this?
There will, but garlic will go pretty close to last.
Oh. Don't you usually do the garlic with the...
Not in this case, the garlic will burn.
Oh. And you just chop up the stems along with the...
Yep, everything. If they're too woody, I would pull them out, but none of these were looking too bad. They don't really taste any different. So we're starting with a lot of good stuff here, right?
I like mushrooms.
Oop, I missed one.
Missed one. How many people is this going to feed?
For us, it would probably feed 4. We'll save this for leftovers. I'll eat it for lunch.
Probably 4, and then maybe some for leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got a head of garlic if you had a lot of times.
Garlic.
Yep. I'll go ahead and chop that up while I'm doing this, but I'll use 2 cloves.
So the cloves are the little pieces on the inside.
Cloves are the little pieces on the inside.
Yeah.
Little piece of clove. Stir that around. We're trying to get those onions nice and translucent. The meat's actually going to go directly in here in a moment. I'm seeing how much of a mess I can make.
You are good at making a mess.
Lord knows. I have a garbage bowl right there. So like this, just 1 clove, I'll take my knife and smash it down with my hand. And it'll just allow me to peel that paper right off the outside of it. Sometimes it's easier than others. But didn't quite get it smashed enough. There we go.
You chop, I guess you're going to chop that too.
I am going to chop that up. Do the other piece. You can add as much or as little garlic as you like. All of these are pretty interchangeable ingredients.
So sometimes we get the jarred garlic.
The fresh is definitely preferable. Sometimes jarred garlic can get a little acidy tasting.
So would I use like a teaspoon?
Yeah,
of jarred
like
garlic?
a teaspoon. So I'm just mincing it up fine. You don't want to get big garlic bites in there. And then I'm just going to move it over to the side because I don't want to add it yet, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to wash my hands off because garlic's sticky. Stir around a little bit.
Should it be sizzling or what?
You're just sauteing. You're
just sauteing.
So you can hear it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I can hear it low sizzling. I don't know if they can hear that on the
Yeah, you can hear it a little. Probably they can. So salt and pepper here. This is actually kosher salt. There was a day when we were afraid of salt. I think that day has passed now that everybody's paying extra money for.
What's kosher salt?
It's just a more coarse ground salt.
And why do you like that?
Because I like the way it clings to the food, and traditional table salt has iodine in it, which will make it taste funny. And traditional table salt is much more finely ground. So
Yeah.
it's more salty tasting.
The finely ground is more salty.
Yeah,
tasting?
you're putting a lot more salt into it than you would of this. And a little bit of pepper.
Does it have to be fresh ground?
It does not, but it's always nice for this.
How much are you putting in?
Probably, I don't know, a quarter teaspoon.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to season. The real difference between home food and restaurant food is seasoning. All right, so we got all the veggies in there. You can see they're the onions are about translucent. So I'm going to push all of that to the side of the pan. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of oil in there, so not too bad.
What about the garlic? Garlic goes now?
Garlic will go later.
Oh.
This is the ground chicken, so it's 1 pound of ground chicken. Could be ground turkey, could be ground pork, could be ground beef, doesn't matter. But chicken's what we happen to have today.
We got that at Aldi.
We did get it at Aldi. Actually, I think everything we got at Aldi.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Now, if you touch the chicken, wash your hands.
This chicken is a
You're not
slimy
want to
thing.
cross-contaminate.
Yeah. I even saw something that said you shouldn't wash chicken off in the sink because you'll just
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will debate on that. I don't ever wash my chicken in the whole, if you're doing whole chicken.
Yeah.
It's not my thing, but a lot of people firmly believe that you should. We're going to turn it up a little bit because we actually want this meat to brown. It's turned down a little bit. Move this out of the way.
I didn't notice the fat content on the chicken. Was it like 96.4 or did it even say?
I don't think on chicken it usually says. You can look and see if you
I know
want.
on ground turkey, a lot of times they will say like 96.1 or 99.1.
This is obviously all white meat, so it's not going to have too much, but a little bit of fat's not going to hurt you.
I was just curious.
All right, so I'm going to make the sauce that goes on this that flavors it then. So I have soy sauce. The predominant flavor in this sort of meat is typically actually hoisin, but I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I have rice wine vinegar. This happens to be, I would use apple cider vinegar, actually any kind of vinegar, it wouldn't really matter, but this just happens to fit into, I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. I have ginger. I'm going to do a squirt out of this, probably a teaspoon.
Does it have to be paste?
You could use fresh ginger if you wanted to. We don't keep it around very often, so
Yeah.
it's easier. I'm going to pop my garlic in this sauce as well.
Oh, it goes in the sauce, the garlic.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm plopping the garlic in there. And then this is hoisin sauce. So hoisin sauce is a soybean fermented sauce. Has a little bit of sweetness to it, so it has calories to it. So there's about 90 calories in a hoisin, in a tablespoon, or in 2 tablespoons of sauce, hoisin sauce, but it's not terrible. Chopping this up, making sure we do. It's like making a lettuce taco, but with an Asian flair. So I'm going to do what would be about 2 tablespoons of hoisin.
Where do I find hoisin sauce? Do I have to go to a special store?
No, you should get it in. And this came from either Publix or Harris Teeter. I'm not sure which. A lot of times it's in the international food aisle. And then I have a little bit of gochujang. I like hot sauce, so I like a little bit of spice. So I'll put, I don't know, it's probably a teaspoon or so. It could be any hot sauce, though. It doesn't matter. Or you don't have to use hot sauce at all. We'll stir that up, set it to the side. We've got all that. Then I'm going to prep the lettuce. So for us, because it's only 2 people, We won't do this, but a lot of times, if my kids were here, we'd do a good bit of lettuce. So we have a lot of choice. Sometimes we'll do a pickled onion.
You
Sometimes
have to wash that?
I wouldn't wash it, no. Breaking this meat up as it cooks. Yeah, if you can get a little bit of color on the meat, so a little bit of browning, that's even better. It gives it a little bit of flavor. Add a little bit more salt, kind of season in layers. And then for this romaine, it could be any kind of lettuce. It doesn't really matter. This just happens to be what I have. We'll just lay it out so it's ready. You just want whole pieces. Just kind of taco salad-y kind of thing. That's probably more than we'll eat, honestly. So we will save the rest for another time. All right, so we're getting pretty close on this. See how much mess I can make. If you get this from a lot of the Chinese restaurants, the predominant thing will actually be water chestnuts in it. We don't ever buy water chestnuts because I think they're random crunchy things, but they're not bad. Do water chestnuts have nutritional value? They must.
I don't think much.
Is there fiber in a water chestnut?
I don't know. I'm not a water chestnut fan.
It's kind of where I am too. All right.
Do I need to put a timer on to cook the chicken, or
Nope.
about how long does it take?
Till it's done.
How do I know when it's done?
It should be no longer pink. This is just, if you've ever made tacos in your life, this is basically tacos.
The beef is brown though.
This started out pink.
Yeah, okay.
So should be like a done piece of chicken. You've seen a done piece of chicken, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this sauce, flip it in there.
Are you folding it in?
I am folding it in. Basically,
On Schitt's Creek, they say, what do you mean fold it in? Well, you just fold it in. Like a piece of paper? No. Anyway.
yeah, that's where that stove goes from being just right to very hot.
Yeah, it got hot.
It's the dangers of an electric stove. One day we'll move or remodel and I'll put in an induction stove or a gas range. Typically, if you were doing this at a Chinese restaurant, they would probably also add sugar. I think the hoisin's sweet enough and we don't really need to add just straight calories from sugar. That's
I smell it.
kind of silly. I'm going to add just a splash of chicken broth
A splash.
just to let it braise a minute, and that's just packaged chicken broth. I can find a place to put it in here.
And you always get the low sodium?
I do always buy the low sodium.
Low sodium, low fat.
Typically it doesn't have fat, but I always figure I can add salt, but I can't take it away, so I'm not going to buy something with extra salt if I can help it. Mm-hmm. And my wife, up until very recently, would yell at me about salt. So now she pays extra for salt.
We call them electrolytes now.
Same thing. Same thing.
My mother didn't cook with salt in the 80s because it was bad for you.
Well, a lot of things are
I'm
bad
very
for you.
salt
in here.
sensitive now. Actually, I think I've desensitized myself with drinking all those electrolyte drinks.
Probably. So we're just going to cook this for a little while longer while that chicken broth just reduces down, because you don't want soggy lettuce wraps. And hopefully Laraine wrote down all the ingredients so you can know how to do it.
Maybe.
We'll see. And that's about what it should look like right there.
All right.
It's chicken lettuce wraps. So I'm going to take this out and put it into a bowl. Let's turn the eye off.
Sometimes you forget.
Not occasionally.
I forgot today.
Yes, you
You had
did.
to remind me when I made my breakfast. Smells good.
So I don't know how much protein is in a pound of meat there.
Oh, it probably said on the package. We can look it up
Yep.
and we'll put it in the notes.
So
Chicken has a lot of protein.
yeah,
This is like all protein. So
This
you've
is
got
all protein and vegetables.
Vegetables. There's really no carbs in this, right? Maybe it's a little bit in the sauces or whatever, but not
just really in the
much.
hoisin. I mean, I think in the hoisin,
Hoisin has
there's
some sugar, I guess.
21 grams of carbs in 2 tablespoons.
It's a lot of sugar.
So we use 2 tablespoons.
Yeah, that's fine.
We don't claim to be keto or anything. So
No,
it's
we are not any particular style of eating.
You take some, put it in the lettuce wrap.
Do I get to taste it?
Hey, you do get to taste it.
Ooh, yay.
And I like to do a little spice on it.
Don't put any of that on my... I don't want... I don't want that on
We'll try it and see what you think.
Which end do I eat it from?
Either end you want.
So just do it like a taco?
So do it like a taco. All right, it's good. So lots of protein, lots of veggies, lots of fiber, all kinds of good stuff going on here. I don't know if you like this or not. This is our cooking show for today. Let me know what you think and we'll do some more. If you have any other ideas for recipes, we're always looking for high protein ways to have a meal, and maybe we'll try and film some more.
Yeah, we'll put the recipe in the description.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me. I'm Christopher Durham,
I'm Laraine Durham.
and this has been The Downsized. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do.
Bye.
Bye-bye.